Hi, this is Diana Zinel here, doing another chamber video with chamber members about both about their business all the time, but also about what's happening with them during COVID. We are joined today by a brand new business owner in Franklin County, Brian Comfort. Just yesterday, actually officially purchased the Deerfield Fly Shop in Deerfield, which is a really great fly fishing store. I've been in there. And we're also joined by Michael Vito, who is the president of the Deerfield chapter, or the Deerfield River chapter of Trout Unlimited. And we really want to talk about fly fishing, but obviously I want to spend a few minutes at least talking to Brian. Brian, it's nice to meet you. This is an interesting way to meet a new chamber member, but it's what we have to do these days. So do you want to talk to me a little bit about Deerfield Fly Shop for people who don't know where it is, what you're selling, and you know, sort of what your plans are with it as the new owner?
Sure. Well, it's located right here in downtown South Deerfield, on Elm Street, 8A Elm Street, technically, across from the barber shop and the laundromat. And yeah, and we sell anything related to fly fishing, from rods and reels to flies to fly tying equipment and materials, as well as waders, basically anything you might need if you want to go out fly fishing. We should have it, and if we don't have it, we can get it for you. And then we also offer guided fishing trips to the Deerfield River, as well as other rivers in the area, for trout. And we're also looking to expand into other species like largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, pike. We're looking to expand our guiding in those areas as well, and lessons as well. If you just want to learn how to fly fish, we can do that for you. So
that's terrific. Well, congratulations on the purchase of the business.
You know,
we're delighted to have you there in South Deerfield and in Franklin County, and certainly as a chamber member. And you touched on fly fishing at the Deerfield River, which we know is some of the best fly fishing around anywhere, right? So I'm sure Michael would probably like to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. You know, the Deerfield is a very special place. It's one of the more popular places in all of Massachusetts. I also sit on the Massachusetts Council of Trout Unlimited, which involves all 10 chapters. And the Deerfield is certainly one of the most popular, mainly because it's one of only 2 major rivers in the state that really has cold water, which means trout can spawn in this water. They can live there year round without as much stocking as some of the warmer water rivers and streams. And our goal really is to create a wild trout fishery on the upper Deerfield. As some people might remember, we actually proved that there was a lot of spawning activity happening on the river, despite the hydroelectric activities from the dam. And we definitely think it's possible. We're right in the middle of the relicensing process. We're trying to at least push the operations in a direction that will actually improve the standards for the fish, improve the environment for the fish, not so many crazy flows, so to speak. So we're getting pretty close to that. And with the wild trout fishery, you will definitely see people coming from all over. They already do. You go up and down the river, you'll see license plates from Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, of course. It will branch out further than that if we can establish a wild brown trout fishery on the upper Deerfield.
That would be great. And Trout Unlimited is really a conservation group, right?
Correct. Correct. We do a lot of work, a lot of science projects, basically, to not just enhance the river, but the whole ecology of the watershed. We do projects in the smaller rivers and streams as well that are tributaries to the Deerfield. We have an abundant amount of native brook trout, which are getting rarer and rarer as our planet warms, and we're doing the best we can to protect them, because in protecting the watershed, it protects the main stem as well. It all works together. Obviously, with industrialization, we've gotten away from that, but would like to get back as much of that as possible. So we're working as hard as we can to do that.
Well, so the fishing is great on the Deerfield, but I can't imagine, it's also so beautiful. I can't imagine a more beautiful place, to be able to do that. And in talking about fishing, fishing is an activity that people have been able to do throughout this lockdown, with the obvious precautions of not staying near, being near other people and so forth. So it's really interesting, that this goes on, and that once the store opens and people have even better access to supplies and stuff, I would hope that that might be, something people take part in coming up. But the other thing about fly fishing that I think is really so unique is that women do it, men do it, young people do it, older people do it. It's something that it's something outdoors that really anybody can do, and people, young kids can fly fish with grandparents, and it's just such a nice thing. So it's certainly something that we, the chamber has a regional tourism grant, and it's something that we'd really like to focus on promoting for this area, because I think it's, as you mentioned, it's a really unique area for fishing, and we have a lot to offer. But the locals are really the biggest benefit of great fishing. So there's some really good, it looks like we lost Michael. There he is. So Michael, I had a chance over the weekend. I've watched it before, but I watched it again, the On the Water episode that's about this area and fly fishing in this area. And did you want to talk about that episode a little bit and maybe give people some information about where they might be able to watch it?
Yeah, I mean, it appeared last fall. It's called On the Water TV, and you can find the episode at onthewatertv.com. And the episode, according to my handy notes here, is Fall Fly Fishing on the Deerfield. And that trip was done with Chris Jackson, who's also a member of our board. He's been on the board of directors on TU for a very long time. He's really a practicing conservationist. He knows the river incredibly well. And you'll see in this episode, I think people will see that, the camera crew went everywhere. I mean, the river itself was beautiful, but they went along Route 2 into downtown Shelburne Falls with nice pictures of some of the art galleries, the Bridge of Flowers. So that in itself was just a good advertisement, for Franklin County for people to come out. But people should really go to onthewater.com and find the Fall Fly Fishing on the Deerfield segment, and that'll give them a real taste of what it is. And hey, give Chris or any of the other guides a call. They'll be glad to hook you up.
How does somebody find a guide?
Well, you can call us here at the Deerfield Fly Shop. We run guided trips. And then there are also numerous other guides in the area too.
Okay.
I believe Mike, you said that you guys had some links on your homepage.
Yeah, on the Deerfield River Watershed Trout Unlimited website, DeerfieldRiverTroutUnlimited.com, we do have a list of the guides, the working guides on the Deerfield River.
That's great. I mean, somebody who's here from out of the area to fish, there's so much other things for them to do, right? We have great breweries here and great restaurants here. You could make a whole weekend of it and bring your family. They can do some of the other activities. We have Yankee Candle and Kringle Candle, and there's great golf. There's all kinds, there's so much that they can do, while they come and do that trip. So, we'll certainly be working together in the near future on making sure some of that is put out there, and that we're promoting that in a way that really paints an accurate picture of how great a fishing trip would be out here. Brian, is there anything you want people to know about? In other words, if somebody needs supplies now, are you able to supply them? Like, can you do an order for things?
We can. We're allowed to, to order and to ship out. So we could mail you supplies, and we're certainly available for that. The phone here at the shop goes directly to my phone now. So so if you call at any time of day, you'll get me or my answering machine or my voicemail. And and we can, if we have it in stock, we can get it in the mail to you. And we're happy to do that. We're very hopeful that potentially as early as next week we'll be allowed to open in some way to the public. It's obviously it's unclear right now what that's going to be, but we're really hopeful that that in some fashion we can open our doors and you can just come to the shop again.
That would be great. Do you mind giving the phone number right now?
No, be happy to. Yeah, it's 413-397-3665.
That's
can
great.
also,
And I know, go ahead.
sorry, you can also email us up at deerfieldflyshop@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Now you run some workshops, and informational things. Is it about fishing or tying or some of both? Can you tell me a little bit about what you hope to offer when, of course, it's appropriate to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, in the past, first off, I want to say I bought that business from Mike Dodonna, who's a friend of mine as well. And we're still friends so far. And Mike is going to continue to guide at the shop, which for me is great. That really made the deal a lot easier for me to do, knowing that he's still going to be around as a guide. And, and I do want to say that he created something really pretty great, and he built a great shop, and it's a thriving business, and I'm very thankful that he sold it to me and trust me to take it over, because this was kind of his baby. And so I'm glad that he's going to be around, and I'm glad that he's sort of brought me into the fold. So he's done a lot of great things in the past, including doing free fly tying lessons in the wintertime usually. And that's generally aimed at beginners. So if you want to just kind of come in and check out what it's all about, there's those opportunities. We don't do those as much in the summer because people tend to be more focused on being out there fishing rather than tying flies. But one thing I do hope to do this summer when we're allowed to gather again, if and when, is offer free casting clinics. At a place to be determined. We got to find a nice stretch of grass that we can do it on. But maybe on sort of random Saturday mornings and perhaps maybe some evenings, just have a spot where we'll be there with a bunch of fly rods and people who can, help instruct in casting and just sort of introduce people to, to the basics of the cast, because that's at the kind of core of what fly fishing is, and what really differentiates fly fishing from other forms of fishing, conventional forms of fishing. And it's, to me, it's kind of what makes fly fishing cool, is the cast. It's fun to do. It's, if you're out there all day and you're not catching fish, sometimes that doesn't matter because you lay down a perfect cast, and that's a reward in and of itself. So so it's a way to kind of to have other markers of success in fly fishing. But it's also, it's also one of the barriers for people who want to get involved in fly fishing. And so if we can help people sort of ascend that learning curve, then that's one thing I want to do too this summer.
Hopefully you'll be open in time for people to consider things from there, maybe as Father's Day gifts, things like that. That's a perfect gift this time of year. So I did win a fishing derby myself once, just so you know. I was about 10, first place. I have a picture with my fish somewhere, but I haven't done much fishing since then. I do have boys that fish. And what's nice is it's so easy. You can just decide to fish and go throw a line somewhere. There's so many great places around here. I know one of mine was just at Puffer's Pond a couple days ago, and so it is nice. And there's a lot of, like you say, different kinds of fishing, but fly fishing is really just so fascinating to me. Michael, is there anything you wanted to add about either fly fishing or Trout Unlimited, or anything that people need to know who might want to get into fly fishing around here?
Well, I mean, we certainly do a lot of, the teaching what Brian is talking about. And in the past, if Brian knows, he's done them with our chapter, with the Fly Shop. We do a wonderful event in February called Flies, Pies, and Lies. It's a small fundraiser for TU. It brings in a lot of people who, buy a lot of their supplies while they're there at the shop. And it's a lot of fun. People come in and, tie flies together, swap stories, and whether they're true or not, nobody really knows. But it's really a fun event. I think I just like to mention again, we are a conservation agency, and we're always looking for more volunteers to do some of the work that we do in the watershed. Right now we're doing a brown trout telemetry study. Back in September, with biologists from the U.S. Geological Survey, we installed transmitters into 30 brown trout, and we're still tracking them, basically seeing how the up and down hydropeaking flows affect their daily lives, especially during the spawning season. We've got about 30 people helping us do that, but we're going to be venturing out into some of the tributaries to do some real good conservation work for brook trout as well, starting up in the Rice Brook area in Charlemont. There's always something to do, and if you love science, if you want to give back, and again, all of this helps the region, and it helps it economically as well. A clean river is good for trout.
Absolutely. How would somebody reach you? Is there a Trout Unlimited website? Should they call somebody?
They can go to the website. They can actually email me directly at deerfieldrivertu@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Well, and if anybody wants information on this, they can also reach out to the chamber, because
Great.
we have your contact, for both of you, and we could certainly connect you. So this has been really great. I hope that people watching this, will think about, giving fly fishing a try, and certainly appreciating the beauty that we have in that river, that really unique and gorgeous river. You can do it today because it's one of the things you're allowed to do, and it'll only get better as we all try to get back to normal. So Brian, again, thank you. Welcome aboard the chamber. Welcome to the business community of Franklin County. We're really, really delighted to have you. I look forward to stopping in once you're open. You're in such a great place. I love the center of South Deerfield. There's really a lot going on there. So again, Michael, thank you. You and I stay in touch quite a bit on these fly fishing things, and we'll probably do so even a little bit more in the future as we work on this sort of tourism and travel thing. So thank you very much. Everybody out there should think about doing some fishing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.